Good evening everybody, and a very warm welcome to Berringer. And today is the final video, the end of the line for Berringer and District's layout. This will be the final video that you'll see, barring the final running session, which will be put up shortly. Unfortunately, my personal circumstances dictate that I now have to leave my home. So I have the upheaval of having to move everything that I own, as well as dismantling my layout, being Berringer Districts, which is why it's coming to an end. I know it comes as a bit of a shock to you guys, but believe me, when I found out, it was very much a shock to me also. This layout has been on YouTube for about 6 years now, or coming on to 6 years, and I finally got to a point where I was really kind of happy with where it was going and where it was leading to, and unfortunately life changes, and so it's thrown me a bit of a curveball. So now I have to find a new home for myself and for my railway. My railway will live on, but it will be in a different format. But Berringer Districts will no longer be running anymore, which is a shame. I put a lot of effort into it, a lot of time into it, but I wanted to. At the end of the day, I have touched upon in the past that I do suffer from mental health issues, and my railway is therapy for me, as well as enjoyment. And so that's why it kind of has evolved to something quite big. It was never really intended to be this big, but it's just how it's developed over the years. But that's something that I will learn from my next layout that I build. It's a shame. All is not lost. I mean, there's a lot of assets here that on Berringer Districts which will just get reused. Buildings, vehicles, signage maybe, depending. And so there's a lot to sort of salvage and take on, but my new layout will be definitely a lot smaller than this, and I need to do it. I need to be creating a layout because it's good for me mentally as well, and I enjoy making things, and I enjoy interacting with all of you guys. I've enjoyed watching your guys' videos come and evolve over time, and I've learned a lot from you guys, and then some of you probably learned a little bit from me, and it's such a shame, because like I said, I was really get to a point where I was really satisfied with the watered end of it and how that was flowing, and I was getting to a point where I was starting to come together down at the station end, and it's such a shame. So it's one of my light bulbs keeps flickering on and off. So it's a shame, but it's the final cry from Berringer. Like I said, there will be one more video, and that video will be a running session, the final running session on Berringer Districts. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to switch you over to my other camera, because I'm currently using my bridge camera, the one that sort of auto focuses and makes that grinding noise. So I'm going to switch you over to my phone, and once I've done that, then I'll just give you one sort of final sort of tour of Berringer, and sort of give you a bit of an idea of what's going on and what the plans will be and stuff like that in the future. So bear with me, and I'm going to switch you over to my camera phone. So here we are on my camera phone, and that's Fiddle Yard 1. And as you can see, pretty much everything's been evacuated. The EMU and the coaches were part of the running session, which you shall see. and that was part of the final running session, so they haven't been packed away yet. And one of the other things is my new layout will be sort of this sort of length, and so from here down to where the numbers are at the end is about 8 foot. Now, what I'm proposing to do is, before I leave here, is to make up 3 boards of 4x2 to create an overall length of 12 foot, and it can be taken down to 10 feet, and then if I use just 2 boards it'll be down to 8 feet. So we'll sort of play about as to what room I have left or whatever, wherever I go to see what I can achieve in what space I have. The other thing is the other layout would probably be DCC, so that will be a bit of a new challenge for me because I haven't done DCC before, so that might be a sort of step change. So although there's kind of sadness of leaving Berringer and districts, it just means I get to try something new. I get to make a different layout, and the great thing is one of the reasons why I brought you here to Phil Yard One is you can see that none of this track is ballasted, so therefore all of this track is just going to be reused and saved, and that's I'm going to have more than enough track without having to spend money. So I'm hoping that once I sort of get settled into my new place, wherever that's going to be, you know, hopefully the layout won't actually take very long to put up and build, because if I take the boards up already built, then I can work out the track plan. I mean, I've already started looking in terms of trying to gauge a few ideas. There's a few layouts on YouTube which I like the idea of. I'm trying to make the most of all the rolling stock I have without having to necessarily buy new specific items for the layout. I'm just trying to make do with what I have. So that's going to be sort of the plan, really. But the great thing is, I mean, you can see where all these boxes are. These are just the boxes for the HIAs that I bought. But obviously we've got all these points work here. That's all going to be saved. And whether I use it or not, I don't know. And things like, can I use the insul frogs on DCC layouts? I'm not entirely certain. I think you can, but I'm not too sure if I was to do sound locomotives, whether or not they cut out or not. So, but I want to try and make use out of all the stuff that I have here. So really, I'm not spending money on track work. So if I can do that, again, if I sort of take you along outside, all of this sort of stuff here, you know, all these points here are going to be saved because none of it was ballasted. A lot of the track that's along here can be saved. So, you know, hopefully, in terms of spending money on track work and point work, hopefully that will be pretty minimal. Assets too. I mean, I've got like a signal box here to be used, and I've got plenty of vehicles and stuff like that. The canopies won't be. All of this will have to be chucked. The fascia, I'm deliberating whether to keep the 2 fascias and the station building. The station building I think I'm going to keep, not to be used on the layout, but maybe as a diorama kind of thing, as something that I've just made that I think I did a good job on, and probably just keep as a bit of a diorama and as a display thing, really, maybe. Whether or not what I'm going to do with the fascias, it's such a pity, but if it's got to go, it's got to go. But like I said, stuff like the brute trolleys and stuff like that, and seating and all these kind of bits and pieces, they can all be salvaged and kept and used elsewhere. Vehicles as well, they can all be taken with me, so that's not really a big deal. I mean, this canopy was actually the last thing I did before I found out. This one here, Donald Platform 1 and 2, was the last thing I did before I found out that I had to move. I was starting to make the wall here, this retaining wall, and this abandoned platform. I guess that's kind of apt that it was one of the final things I was working on. Because the station's probably end up being abandoned and dismantled anyway. So, as we walk further down the line, try not to kill myself and trip over anything.
like I said, all these vehicles, people, this would all be kept. The buildings at the back, they'll probably all get chucked. Um, this these two sidings here that were originally to the new shot. These two lines have been primarily used to run out the locos. So this EMU is waiting to come off the layout to be packed away. So that's what I've been doing. All my locos have been just slowly been pulled into this siding and taken off the layout via the siding, or the one at the EMU in, depending on the length. As we take you further down towards Moorwood, we've got the rock face, and I'm going to switch the light on. Hang on a sec, I'll switch the light on for this so you can try and get a decent view of what's going on. Ah, here we go. Right, sorry about that. I have to say, apart from my station building, I think this is probably my best piece of work. I think this is the bit that I'm going to miss the most, is the rock face, because I really liked it and I really liked doing it. But the good thing is I'll salvage a lot of this as well. I mean, even though I pull it off, you can still, even though it's been broken pieces, you can sort of stick it up together and just reblend it all in. And that might be something that I might show you guys how to do that if I decide to use any of this on my next layout, depending on what I salvage. And I'm hoping the trees, like the folly, can all be salvaged, but what gets used on the new layout, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to pan out. Moorwood, that's just going to completely get chucked from top to bottom. This end is going to be chucked. Recently, one of the last jobs I did along here was to replace this bit of track because there was a running issue. But again, this bit I can salvage. But the rest of the track work will get chucked. And I'll just be keeping the odd bits and pieces like the assets, like the few cars that are here and the signal box and that. But generally speaking, all of this will just get chucked, unfortunately. Down below we have Moorwood Nuclear Fast Terminal, and this is something that I was toying with the idea of as to whether I was going to keep or not. But I'm just thinking to myself, I may do something similar on the new board, on the new layout. The thing is, with this particular bit, it was made up of about 2 or 3 different boards, and so basically I kind of want to start from scratch instead of just trying to cobble a load of boards together. I'm trying to sort of just going to have one proper board and stuff like that. I mean, all of this layout is pretty much been recycled. So in terms of chucking the wood out and stuff like that, that isn't really going to cost me much because a lot of this stuff was salvaged anyway. So in terms of money wise, the actual wood that's used on this layout is very minimal that I've spent money on, because a lot of it was recycled anyway. But and even the track work, because a lot of the track work that's ballasted all the way around is all just, there's no point work. So again, all that point work will be saved. I mean, this is the only one that's barely ballasted, as well as the one where the EMU was, and those are the only 2. But all of this stuff along here, this is all just completely cleared out now, waiting to come down. Everything's been packed up. But as you can see, there's a load of point work, there's loads of track here. So, I mean, I've got more than enough track to build the sort of length layout that I'm planning on doing. So, at least from that point of view, that should be really, really good. But it's a shame. It really is a shame. It's just, it's taken me a while to put this video up because it's just been a bit of a, well, yeah. I'm sure I'll leave it to your imagination, but yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean. It's just, my head's just been spinning around like crazy because just the thought of having to dismantle all this, it's taken me quite a long time to do. But I guess life throws a curveball and you just got to deal with it, and I guess that's what I have to do. But what I'm hoping that the new layout is going to be based on this EMU here, basically 4 car units. I'm hoping it will be like, or maybe a loco and 3 coaches. That's what kind of, probably depends on what length I can get out of the new layout. This was all recent, and it's all got to come down. How sad. Never mind. Just to give you sort of overall kind of view of it, you can sort of see it all the way around. But anyway, so one final time, it's goodbye from Berringer. Look out for the running session, because that'll be the last video, and then we'll be moving on, as life does. I'd like to thank everybody at this point for subscribing and listening to my ramblings and watching my layout for all these years. I'm not dead in that sense, you know, there will be another layout, but it's just a shame to see this one go. But yeah, it is what it is. So thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment and subscribe, and may Berringer rest in peace, 2009 to 2017. So bye from Berringer.